Can you please state your name and the position that you're seeking?
I am Cindy Barksdale for Justice of the Peace Precinct 2.
What required training does Texas law mandate for JPs? And how will you go beyond the minimum requirements?
It has 80 hours that you have to take, or I would have to take because I would be brand new to the Justice of the Peace Center. Um, but I've been a professional for 30 years, so I've worked in the education system for 30 years. So I've had thousands of hours of professional development. But what I really have found for me is what's most effective is what I do on my own and dig in. And that's what I started before I ever even decided to run, as I downloaded desk helps books for the Justice of the Peace from the Justice Peace Association. And I've read through those. I've been reading through those, and I've sat in courts to watch the Justice of the Peace and ask questions. And so what I do on my own is really beneficial to me.
Texas JPs serve as magistrates and they conduct inquests. So, how do you approach these responsibilities, especially in sensitive cases?
Well, I think I have experience in that I've sat with students and kids before that have come to me, and this is an example of how sensitive information, when they've said, that they've been sexually abused by a family member, and, going through that and making sure that you hit everything that you need to hit legally, to help that student, to keep that student safe, and to work with the parents. And then for some of the times I've even sat with the kid while they've told the parent for the first time that that's what's happened to them. And so, but really making sure that I'm consistent in procedures, and with the law, and that, but I'm compassionate in the approach so that they feel like they've been heard. But I make sure that I follow the law to the T, for those. And that's exactly what I would be, is clear in expectations, compassionate in approach, and consistent in the application of the law.
What changes, if any, would you advocate for at the county or the state level to improve JP courts?
I think the main thing is, because we're growing, we're we're growing so fast in this county, is to first look through the procedures and make sure procedures that if they're clear, make sure that they're effective, and then to really look at, even ask other counties, like some of the bigger counties, like how they went through the growing stages, but like really working through that evidence and that pretrial evidence trial to make sure that the people feel heard, and that they know that they've been heard before there's any kind of ruling.
What role should discretion play in minor criminal cases?
In minor what?
Criminal cases.
Well, I think discretion is, basically you have to make sure that you follow the law. The law is the law, whether we agree with it or not. There's a lot of education law that I do not agree with, but I still follow it because it's the law. So I think on discretion, especially in juvenile cases, it's really talking to that family and talking to the child themselves, and trying to teach them those tools that they obviously don't have, and helping them, not necessarily still following the law, but working with them to help find local agencies or support in the community that can help them not be repeaters, and help them find some tools that will help them make better choices.
What languages or accommodations should the court be prepared to offer, and how will you ensure that that happens?
Well, there's a lot of through Google now, there's a lot of translators that you can use. And so I would make sure that if someone is not, if English is their second language, we might have to delay trial for, a little bit, so we can make sure that we do have somebody in there, because, that's part of being compassionate and really consistent in the law, is to making sure they understand what is going to happen to them, like what the policies are, what the procedures are. And so even if we needed to delay to find, to get a translator in there, we would do that.
And why should voters trust you with this responsibility?
Well, I've served Wise County communities for over 30 years as educator, as a city council person, as mayor pro tem, as a board member, and as a volunteer. And I've sat with people in some of their hardest times and some of their greatest crisis. And I think that most people just want to be heard, and they want to know what the clear expectations are. They want to make sure that that you're consistent. And I think that's the best way to be compassionate in anything is to be consistent in your and how you handle things. But I think to be firm and fair, but to show that compassion, to be able to help them be able to find local help and local support I mean, justice of the peace is the closest to the people. So that's usually the first time someone is in with the law. And so to help them find ways to make better choices.